Probably that I can deal with my emotions and I can be vulnerable, I can be emotional, and I can open up to the people.
Me, they've definitely been great. Like, say example, I've had issues, I could go to them guys. Poor Thomas has had me like rant and rave, or even
Unpopular opinion, I am very disappointed that we didn't get to hear from Terence and Portia. I would have loved for them to say something. I would have loved for them to sort of tell us where they are. I know they'll never get back together, but I would have loved to hear what they learned from their time together and what, if they had a second chance, if they were to do it all over again, what they would have done to make sure they received a positive outcome. Surprise, surprise. Am I surprised that, Ella got this positive spin? No. I don't know why they brought Bianca when they were not going to discuss Bianca's issues with Ella and JJ. But I assume they're trying to, create this narrative for Ella. So bringing in Bianca would not have been a good idea. Hey, it is what it is. George and Peggy are still trying to push this horse up a hill. That relationship, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm so proud of Tasha and Paul. I'm so proud of Roz and Thomas, even though they're not a success story. Anyway, I digress. I'm losing my words. Hey there. Thanks for stopping by. It's your girl, Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight UK, Season 8, Episode 36. You have everybody come up, it's final commitments. Well, it's normally a commitment ceremony, but I think it's just a debriefing, sort of a reunion and sort of rehashing of any concerns that were left in either in couples that are still married or couples that are now separated. Whatever they want addressed, they can have it addressed now. And you have Portia being emotional when they showed the footage of the weddings, because I think for her idea or her expectations coming into the experiment obviously were not met because she and Terence broke up. But also at the same time, she seems to be in a good place. She seems to be grateful or appreciative of the couples that actually made it. And Terence is a fool. He refused to greet her the day before, but when she appeared tearful, he wanted to give her a hug. And it's like, make it make sense. Either you want to talk to her, you want to hug her, or you don't even want to do anything. So please sit down somewhere. Nobody really has time for that. And so, first up is Ross and Thomas. I said it before. Ross panicked. And when she panicked, I think she started looking for all the bad things that she could think of in regards to Thomas. She started to say all the negative things she could think of. She started to bring up all her concerns because now that they're separated, apparently she's still been in contact with Thomas. She's been sending him messages, and he at times hasn't responded because he was sort of a bit confused, in my opinion, because of the mixed signaling. In the fact that if you say it's not going to work, you don't see yourself having children with me, why do you want to talk to me? But I think because he's a nice person, he didn't want to block her and he didn't want to be disrespectful. So for Roz, I think she's got buyer's remorse. I think she regrets her decision to break up with Thomas. I think she wishes she had put a pause and not completely broken things off. I personally feel like she should have taken a pause. There's no harm in taking a pause because she could have come back and said, I'm ready. But now, because she's saying, oh, I don't know whether I'll be able to commit to anyone. I don't know whether I'll be able to to fully fall in love. She's now got a lot of regrets because of her decision with Thomas. Thomas is moving on with life, but she's now stuck in this situation whereby there's no going back because he has moved on. It's not like she had put him on hold. She said, we're completely done. He took it for what it is. He was broken, he healed, and is in a better place. And so it's nice they're still friends. It's nice that they can see the bright side of things, but it's sad that the two of them broke up. A lot of people were rooting for them. I am one of those people that was rooting for them. Even Paul, the expert, said, I've never rooted for anyone in this experiment more than I did you two, and I'm heartbroken that it didn't work. Well, there's a lot of us who are heartbroken that they didn't work. So next up is Eric and Jordan. Obviously, we know there's the issue about the cheating scandal. The fact that there was a picture that was rotating amongst the guys and Erica had no idea about this. Jordan, on his part, I don't know whether he knew about the picture or whether he just was blindsided. So anyway, they're having this conversation and Jordan is asked, you still haven't apologized. And he just sits there and is trying to defend himself. This is what I said before, and I'll keep repeating this. Because of his OCD, Jordan has this thing whereby if he has an idea in his head, he's going to stick to it. And it's very difficult to reset him and get him to look at things from a different point of view. Because Paul in the end had said to him, you haven't apologized. And everybody was getting frustrated. Even one of the participants, Paul as well, was frustrated that he just needs to apologize and move on because that's all that's needed. And personally, I feel his apology was very shallow unless it was edited out. I would have apologized. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife because I put myself in that position whereby, whether it was through my actions or inaction, somebody misunderstood me and felt that they were comfortable enough to want to kiss me. What I should have done is, as soon as this happened, I should have told my wife before the rumors started circulating. I should have explained every single detail of what happened. I should have apologized to my wife without prompting. So at the moment, I want to sincerely apologize to Erica. I am sincerely sorry for hurting your feelings, for breaking your trust. I know what I did is unacceptable. I will work every day to try and win your trust and your favor again. But please, can you give me a chance to prove to you that I can be the man that you need and the best man that I can be for us to be functional in this relationship. His apology was very wishy-washy, and I don't get how Erica could forgive him so easily, whether she's so down the hatch and so in love with him that she can't see past her love, or whether she just wants it over and done with. And Luke was right to say he's getting away with it. He did get away with it because apparently in the taxi was making out. This is just allegedly. This is not me having 100% facts. So maybe Erica should have withheld forgiving him for a bit until he actually proved himself. Then she would have forgiven him. I know she said in the past when she's given people a second opportunity, they've always, shown her why she shouldn't have given them a second opportunity. Well, maybe she should not have given him an opportunity, but she should have said, I am open to us trying to work and see if we can overcome this. And then once he had gained the trust back, she would say, okay, I forgive you. That's just my opinion. I might be wrong, but hey, it is what it is. Next up is Ella and JJ, and I don't know how I feel about Ella and JJ because in my opinion, I don't even know why they're being given the time. I think if Nathaniel was not going to show up, then Ella and JJ didn't need any time. The time should have been spent addressing the issues. I feel like if they wanted to speak to JJ, they should have set JJ on the couch with both Ella and with Bianca and sort of found out what happened. Where did things go wrong? First of all with Bianca, and then talk about things with Ella, not to use Bianca as an afterthought to say, oh, how do you feel watching all this play out? What do you expect her to say? That I'm upset and I'm furious that they wasted my time. No, she can't, because then she will be seen as the bitter person. So I don't get that. I don't get why. And for them to say, oh, Ella, you're a trailblazer. You're the first trans woman. This is what it was all about. This is why she came back into the experiment, because they were trying to set this perception that she's a trendsetter. She's broken the barriers and stuff. And it's like, she's not the person for you to place this tag on because of the things she's done in the experiment. I know my other explanation didn't make sense, but here we go. She got drunk on her honeymoon, and according to Nathaniel, she solicited a threesome from somebody else at the bar. She had an issue with Nathaniel, which he would not reveal. I haven't watched his post-show interviews to find out what the issue was. She fancied somebody else's husband, then eventually got together with that husband, and they became a couple. That's not someone you want to use as a role model. I'm not being judgmental, but there's so many things wrong there that make people question her character. This is what I mean. As in, I'm not saying she should have been spotless, but at the end of the day, Portia did just one thing wrong and people dragged her for filth. And yet Ella's done so many things wrong, and it's okay for people. People are not bothered. They just sweep it under the rug. For her to stand and take a bow, and this is what it was. For her to be a trendsetter, for her to be a role model, and it's like, well, she needs to do the work. She needs to sort of learn to manage herself once she's intoxicated. She needs to learn how to behave in relationships and how not to be messy, in my opinion. JJ, I don't even know. I didn't even hear what he said. He learned that he needs to open up. Well, okay, it is what it is. I feel like JJ should have apologized to Bianca again in front of everyone if his apology was genuine. I think once the expert brought in, Bianca and sort of said you handle that like a sassy woman, he should have said, I'm sorry, can I just say something to Bianca? And he should have apologized to Bianca in front of everyone. That's if his apology was genuine. But from what he's done, no, it's not. Next up is Adrian and Matt. What do I think? Good on Matt for speaking up for himself is all I can say, because I feel like throughout this experiment, all we've heard is what Adrian wants. She wants someone who's outgoing. She doesn't want to have children. She wants him to have high energy. She wants to be social. So it was always what Adrian wanted, and Matt was trying to go along with it, I think, because he was so smitten and they really wanted this relationship to work. And so when things didn't work out the way they expected them to, this is why he's mad, and this is why he's decided to speak up for himself. Because he's saying to her, yes, you felt things were a certain way, but I was not ever allowed to express my own feelings. And she turns around and says, it's not a competition. It's like, well, actually, allow him to speak. Let us hear what he felt, because we know you didn't like the lack of energy. You didn't like that he seemed to be not driven, and he was always sort of wanting to follow whatever you did, and you felt like you had to lead the relationship. We know you were upset that he was not responding to your messages. So what about him? What did he feel? I feel like Adrian checked out when she realized she couldn't get away. I think people must have spoken to her about her not wanting children, and they must have told her that it's going to be difficult to get Matt to get on board. He might be on board for a couple of years, but things are still going to fall apart. And I feel like this is one of maybe the reasons why they split up, but Adrian doesn't want to say that. And for her friend Erica to sort of console her, it's good for her, but I feel she should have been honest with Adrian. I always feel if someone is your friend, they need to learn to be honest with you, whether or not it breaks up the friendship, because we all need honesty from time to time. We need constructive feedback. It doesn't have to be brutal, but we just need constructive feedback. We need constructive feedback. We don't need to be criticized. And I think if her friends were her friends, they would have told her the truth. But hey, it is what it is. Why didn't Arthur present then? Why didn't he turn up? Did the producers tell him not to come, or was he too annoyed after the night before that he decided not to come? It doesn't make sense. I understand Nathaniel's reason for not wanting to come and be part of this mess, but I don't get why Arthur didn't come. I would have loved to hear his side of the story. Laura is saying, well, I learned that, if something doesn't work and if it seems I'm the only one putting in, effort, then I need to leave, because if somebody's not sort of reciprocating what I'm giving. And it's like, oh God. So you put in all the work. What did Arthur do? Just make you coffees every morning. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. You were not perfect in your relationship. You were derogatory towards your husband. People called you out for how you treated him. All that you swept under the rug, and now you're Captain Saver. Okay, if that's what works for you, it is what it is. For Sean and Mark, Sean said he's learned that he wasn't ready. Yeah, he wasn't ready. I think he thought he was ready to serve someone and didn't realize how much work he would need to put in order to be able to serve Mark. And I think that's why he sort of checked out. Mark, on his part, says, he's learned that, he's learned to be comfortable in his own skin, more or less. And everybody being around and sort of going through the same process really helped him with the process. So I really didn't get what they learned, but hey, it is what it is. Next up, we have Jay and Luke. Jay and Luke, I think there's more to the Jay and Luke story than Luke is making out, because it doesn't make sense that he's adamant that he won't change. Jay said, she expected him to be in touch with her. I think the problem is communication is going to be an issue for all these couples, in the sense that they were living together 24/7. They were under each other all the time. Suddenly living apart and having to maintain that communication. And some of them are struggling with finding time or with making the effort to communicate. This was a common theme. We had the same thing from Adrian and Matt, and now we have, Jay and Luke. Luke is saying, I'm not going to change for anyone. I think he realized his feelings for Jay weren't as strong as he thought they were. Because if you really like someone, you will make the effort to change. This is what Paul, the expert, was telling him, that life is about evolving. You cannot remain stagnant in one position, and you cannot say that I'm not going to change for anyone. He doesn't like her that much, and the fact that she really loves him and he's not willing to put in the work is heartbreaking for Jay. It really is heartbreaking, and I feel sorry for her, because now she's in this situation whereby she's in love with this man, but he's not in love with her, and so she now has to heal herself. And I give it to Paul the expert for telling her that you made a lot of friends. You will learn something. We all learn from our mistakes. We all learn from broken relationships. And she will learn, she will grow, she will become the best version of herself. But at the moment, she can't see it until she's over the other end. And so I wish her all the best. And I hope she finds someone who will love her for who she is and will appreciate her for who she is and will be willing to make the effort and the changes necessary to be the best partner to her. Jay needs to work on himself. I think he needs work. He needs help. He needs to go to counseling or something. And I know it appears as though Luke is obsessed with Jordan, but also I think Jordan and Erica are obsessed with Luke because of their issue. Because Erica say, oh, he's telling lies. And it's like, that has nothing to do with you. This is why he brought out the pictures, because you decided to be petty. And he sort of went, when they go low, he went lower. He went down to the and sort of told everybody about the pictures. Otherwise, you would never have known that your husband actually cheated on you. Oh, God, I know. Anyway, then we have Peggy and George. Peggy and George, I don't get them. Well, apparently Peggy's mom now loves George. She makes, food for him. They sit on the settee and they watch TV together. And it's like, oh, so what? What's next? I don't get that relationship. I really don't. And I don't understand the idea that they say they're still married, but they haven't had sex. I think they've had sex. They just don't want the world to know that they've had sex. The way they were dressed, oh God, it was like the Candyman and his assistant. I didn't get Peggy's dress there. I didn't get it. Neither did I get George's trousers. He looked like he was going to the circus or something. But hey, I've never been a fan, so nothing new here. Next up is Shauna and Brad. Shauna and Brad were a toxic couple from the start. Brad was very controlling. It was an emotionally, psychologically abusive relationship, in my opinion, because of the way that he would shower her with a lot of love, and then he would start critiquing her and trying to correct her and trying to change her into the person that he wanted her to be. That was the issue with their relationship. And Brad, for him to receive advice from the experts and be asked, have you learned anything? And he says, okay, I will take on board what I've been given and I will work alongside it. And it's like, well, you're not working alongside it. You must try and implement it into your life, or try and use it to self-reflect and see where you need to make changes to be the best version of yourself. I don't get that, man. At least I give it to Shauna. She's able to stand up for herself, because there was a lot of worry in the sense that she wasn't going to be able to stand up for herself, and she was always going to follow Brad around. So for her to say she doesn't want a friendship and she's got enough friends, good for her. I hope she finds someone who loves and values her. Lastly is Tasha and Paul. I'm so disappointed that we didn't get to hear from Terence and Portia. I don't know why, whether they've chosen not to speak or whether they were interviewed and the producers decided it wasn't worth us watching it. I don't know why. Anyway, they end off with the success story. Tasha and Paul. Tasha and Paul were two people who entered the experiment for the right reasons, wanting the same goal or to the same outcome for one another, and they put in the work and they succeeded. They got to the end with the person that they were matched with. From the start, it was evident how excited Tasha was as soon as she saw Paul and how relaxed Paul became. And because Paul was very calm and was very willing to work and was very patient, Tasha had no other choice but to want to be her best self for Paul, because she couldn't fault him. Yes, he had these little issues that, he still needed to grow into himself. But she also realized that she had issues of herself that she needed to work on and be the best version of herself. I'm so proud of them for being the youngest couple in the experiment, and being a success story has been amazing. Yes, they've argued Everybody argues, siblings, husband and wife, parents and children, grandchildren and grandparents. Everybody argues. As long as there's two or more people in a situation, there's always going to be a disagreement. There's no one who can get along all the time without any fault. So I give them credit for putting in the work and making sure they stayed at it to receive the outcome that they both wanted. I could not be more proud of them, and I'm so happy that Paul, the expert, actually recognized their goals and how they worked as a team to really do the work to succeed. So I'm so proud of Tasha and Paul. I wish them all the best, and can't wait to see their children. As Paul said, they are still on board with having children. Amazing. It's sad that they didn't discuss the issue on the show that Tasha is the type 1 diabetic, apparently. And I don't know why the producers felt it wasn't necessary. If they're going to discuss the trans thing, why not also discuss, something that has to do with health that could create awareness and also encourage people who are dealing with things like diabetes to know that you're not alone. You can still live a full life. I don't know why they didn't want to show that. It doesn't make sense to me, but hey, it is what it is. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. It's been an amazing season. I can't wait for next season. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 35. Bye guys.